Okay guys, I want to welcome you to a lesson today. It's an introduction to Ableton Live 10 DJs. Okay, now if you've used Live before, great. You're still going to dig this little video or quick tech view of Ableton Live 10 suite. Okay, but if you've never used Ableton Live, you'll at least get to grasp some of the starter features that you can use. Go up here and look About Live. I'm using Ableton Live 10 Suite. Okay. Now, if you don't have Suite, it's okay. There's just a few more features with Suite, okay? I've been using this since Ableton 7. If you guys have too, then this will be quick and easy for you. If not, enjoy this introduction. Now, if you dig this, please like and subscribe to my channel. And also go to djmotivation.com, get some free music from me, and check out DJ Motivation Podcast on iTunes, okay? You'll love the motivation I do daily there. All right, but let's get back to the lesson here. Now, let's look at the preferences, right? Let's go straight to preferences. I use English, but look, guys, it comes in Dutch, Spanish, French, Italian, Japanese, which is amazing, guys. I mean, if you're in those other countries and you didn't know that you could switch the language on Live, wow, spoiler alert, you can. It's a cool feature. Not every software has this at all. A lot of softwares just come in one language. So I dig this. Now, obviously, I'm doing English, right? Follow behavior, I leave it on scroll, but you can do pager scroll. Hide labels, you could do show or hide. You know, that's just the reality of it. The labels, like if you look at audio, see how audio in the master here, if you look at hide the labels, see how they just went away? Look, and we'll go here. Click on this. See how all your labels there in the channel, the MIDI, the audio. If you want to hide them, I don't know why you'd want to, but if you want to, you can. It's pretty cool. Let's go here to look and feel, right? Pen tablet mode. You know, some people are using this on a tablet. You can actually really use this on a tablet and just click on a pen mode. Use a pen to touch your clips and everything. Pretty cool. Zoom. Look, you can zoom out, zoom in. If you have horrible sight, look, you can do a lot with this kind of thing. Look how big that is. It's crazy. Now, personally for me, I like it at 100%, okay? Now, you can auto-assign track colors. You can turn that on, and you could, like, pick a default track color that you want your tracks to load in. I just auto-assign. It's easier for me, and then I adjust it if I want to adjust it later. Default track colors, auto-assign, or you can pick them like we talked about. I do random, or you can pick the track colors, right? Now, themes, you can load more themes. Some guys do that. I'm not really into loading more themes, but I'll show you some of the cool themes that come with it. You got light, you've got mid-light as a default, mid-dark, dark, live 9, OTR dark, and look, you can adjust the brightness level, guys. You see that? You can adjust the contrast, color intensity. Like, this is pretty wild. See? So you can, like, change the hue of this. I mean, it's kind of wild what you can do to make it look different colors. I mean, look how crazy that looks. So, you know, you can mess with it if you want. You go back to it, hit default, right? And it's back to the default, you know? And most of these, if you look, the default is 100 brightness, 0 color intensity, 0 hue. But like a TV, you can color tune it. Just kind of wild. A lot of guys don't know that. So that's another little cool feature. Like down here is the themes you can really mess with. That's the look and the feel. Personally, I like a little bit of a lighter look. That's me though. Audio, look, you got your audio driver. No driver. You can use Core Audio, which comes with basically like my MacBook Pro. If you got an audio card, an audio device, like a box, like I got an audio box. I sometimes use it when I play live. It'll show up under audio inputs, and you can go ahead and click it. Now, built-in microphone, whatever kind of audio you have plugged in. Like I got a Yeti mic plugged in. I could use that as an audio input. I got the built-in microphone as an audio input. Now look, I'm running Bluetooth speakers. You can even run Bluetooth speakers. If you got Bluetooth connected to your Mac, I'm running output to my Bluetooth Mackie Studio speakers. It's pretty cool. All right. Sample rate. You can adjust this to 41 or 4800. You can do normal or high quality a lot of times. Depends on what you have plugged in on the sample rate. Now, if you go here, input latency, you could do 32 samples, 64, 128, 256. I usually do 2048 samples, but you can play with that to you know, look at the input latency, see what you like. Like you go 32 samples, look at the difference here. I mean, it just changes the input latency and the output latency a little bit when you do this. Drive error, overall latency in milliseconds. You can also test it, guys. You click on the test. You can test and adjust the volume, the frequency, the CPU simulator, which is interesting. I don't use it often, but it is cool that you can do that with Ableton. Now, you can link different devices in here, which is really cool. You got all kinds of MIDI controllers that if you have a MIDI controller, you can use. Now, some of the old legacy ones, like the Oxygen 8, don't work anymore unless you just are plugging MIDI data in. But guys, I like using Ableton Push 2. You can connect it really easy and sync it and use that to launch clips, which I like when you're launching clips or you're doing a performance and you're, you know, doing a VST like a synth or a bass line. File folders. You know, you can create and analyze your folders. I like to leave the create analyze on because I like it to like analyze my track or my clip before I actually load it. Sample editor. I don't have a sample editor set up. I do have a temporary folder set up. It just does that on auto. It auto does that. Max applications. If you're using Ableton Live Suite, it will create a little max application for you. And then a cache file. And then you can adjust the space of this cache file, the max of the cache file. You can even clean the cache file, which is pretty cool. Now, libraries, collect files on export. I always do this, but you could hit never or ask. It's really your personal preference. You can show the downloadable packs. I like to leave it where it shows my downloadable packs. You got a user library, an installation pack library. Now, if you go to plugins, you can rescan for your VST plugins, and when you install a plugin, a VST file, most of these, like, if you're talking about arcade, if you're talking about massive synths or things, I like to use massive a lot, to be honest. If you're talking about those VSTs or Ozone to master, when you install Ozone on your Mac, it should go to your default plugin file, okay? We'll save if it doesn't for another day, okay? Record functions. Look, you got AIIF. You got WAV. You could save the file as WAV when you're recording. You could record it as a AIFF. You could record it as a WAV. You could change the bit depth. I got it set to 24, but you could do 16, 32, whatever. You could arm your tracks or solo your tracks. You could click that on and off. You could update the rate 1/16th or 1 bar, whatever you want to do. Record session automation, arm tracks, all tracks. There's just so many features, guys. You can have the start, playback, or with record on or off. You can warp your faders, auto warping the samples, trigger mode for launching your clips, gate mode, toggle, repeat mode. I like trigger, default clip launch. You can go global, but you can change this to whatever. I like global just to keep it on that way. Select on launch. Select your next scene on launch. Start record a scene launch. You could do that. Start playback with the tap tempo on. It's all preference based though, guys. You can change this whenever you want. And license and maintenances, yeah, whatever you're licensed for, you know, it'll show up there. Get automatic updates. You can turn this on or off. Send user data on and off. I think this kind of clogs up the system. I don't like to do that. Automatically set everything to automated because sometimes it crashes my CPU, right? So that just is the look, feel, the preferences. That's the preference tab in Ableton Live 10 if you've never dealt with it before, all right? Now, you've got 2 MIDI clips it defaults and opens up with, and then it's got 2 audio clips that you've got. Reverb, delay, you can route these to whatever channels you have or the master. You can put reverb effects and delay effects and route them somewhere, which is, I like Ableton a lot because you can just route things really easily through the different channels that you have, the audio inputs, outputs. It's a phenomenal router, guys, okay? Now let's just go to some different things. Let's go look at a MIDI track. We can take this 606 kit, let's drag it into, you can do 2 ways. You could drag and drop the MIDI folder. You could also, let's just double click on, let's double click on this, and then it'll double click and drop it in, okay? Now, if I wanted to put a different MIDI here, let's basically go to, let's get out of drums, let's go instruments, let's go with operator. So now, I'm gonna click on this, and I'm just gonna go to operator, and I'm gonna go a synth lead, and let's just double click it, and it'll drop it into the second MIDI track, okay? Now, if you go here, it's arming this one because that's the latest MIDI track we just armed, but let's unarm it, and let's arm this one. Let's double click on the first one there, and now you can hit the preview button here, and look, all your drum sounds, guys. So if you want to do a kick, I like to just draw it in. So this is the pencil tool, right? You take the pencil tool, we're gonna draw a kick. We're gonna do a 1, 1. Let's do a 1 and a 1 and a 1 2, 1 3, a 1 4. Now let's hit play. Now there's my kick, right? Now I could save that kick as a single audio track and record that as an audio track, or I could make a drum loop, or I could let it play in MIDI. There's so many options. Or I can make a whole drum kick with like a crash, a cowbell, whatever. Let's go with like, for instance, a clap, right? We'll go put this on the 2 and the 4, right? The clap, like a lot of house tracks. Now the metronome here, I could turn it on, turn it off. That's your metronome. I personally like a speed of 128 for house music. You could basically just type in whatever speed you want. If you want it to be 95, just click on it and type. The default's 120, but we're going to go 128 for the speed. If you're doing a 4/4, that's usually house or dance music. You can also just click on it and put a 3 in there, and we could put this to 170, for instance, and now you got drum and bass, right? 3/4 time. You could create a drum and bass, and we're going to leave that for another day, but let's just stick with house for the moment. Let's go back to a 4/4, and let's, we've got our kick, our clap. Let's just click play. Now, let's do another one. Let's do the clap. So now we've got a whole thing like a roll, right? So watch what we'll do, guys. We'll go back to our first clip. And then let's take it, we can hit right click it and hit, let's go ahead and hit copy. Let's go here, let's hit paste. And let's change this one up a bit. Let's hit it. And let's go with, let's see how that sounds. And let's go to the ride. Let's go. So let's go ahead and click here. This is our original. And let's hit stop on the master. Now you could also stop the clips this way. But do you see how easy that is to just create a drum beat? with a kit, it's super easy, guys. If you want to bring an audio in, Ableton comes with all these MIDI instruments you can just fool with. It's got audio effects you can fool with to put on audio tracks. It's got MIDI effects you could put on, like for instance, a drum. We'll go ahead and put a drum effect on here. Now, personally, that drum effect screws it up in my opinion because it's just not what I wanted. But you can still change it and mess with it and mess with it and mess with it and mess with it. That's what I love about Ableton. It's elastic, it's stretchy. Now, Max for Live is an instrument that has always been a plugin. Now it's just built into Ableton Live 10. That's the real big difference here, right? Plugins, guys, I got all kinds of VSTs. They're just instruments you can use, right? And you can make cool sounds like Arcade is one of my favorite ones. If we load this up and we go to Hearts and we click on this, just look at how this sounds, right? You can add these kinds of sounds to your tracks too. So I'm gonna get out of this. We don't need that anymore. But you can see that the options here are very limitless. Now, clips are basically Ableton's way of like creating like MIDI instruments with already pre-designed clips. Like, you know how we designed the drum loop, right? Like if we go to the Model C here and we click on this and we double click and we open it, look at all the MIDI notes they've already drawn in for you. Now, if you play this, so the reason Ableton does this is you can create MIDI songs right out the gate without using other people's clips or clips you bought. And also, it shows you ideas of how you can actually make MIDI notes and MIDI instruments and in Ableton, which is really cool. And when you get the suite, I don't know if it comes in the basic list, but look at all the different clips they've already designed for you. They've already designed them. So you can just fool around with these clips and you already have MIDI designs that you can tweak and mess with and write in or copy and paste and do all kinds of stuff with, which is amazing. So that's food for thought, guys. Samples, look, samples are just straight up audio clips. Like, look, we can go with a preview here. That little preview button allows us to preview it or not. If you click on it, it turns blue, it's preview. So this is a loop, right? They've given you loop previews that you can use. They've also given you single sounds, guys. Like, look, here's a bongo. So if you go here to audio, let's just drag a loop in there. Open it, click, double click it. Look, here's your loop, guys. Now that's one way of doing it. You can also go to audio and do it this way, which is unique. Let's just let's stop that. Let's just go with the bongo sound. Let's do the bongo sound there. Now you can click into this and let's warp it and let's turn this into a loop, this little sound, guys. And let's basically stretch this. You see how you can transpose it? Look at all the flexibility you have here, guys. It's crazy. Didn't sound in tune right now. It wasn't supposed to, guys. I just showing you some different things you can do. That's kind of crazy, right? So packs. Let's talk about this, okay? You can buy packs online. You can download samples. You can create your own samples as well. Like These are just vocal samples I actually have. Let's preview it. Let's go with her Hypnotize.
I'm hypnotized.
So I can use those in a track. I got lots of loops I've bought. And here's the thing, guys. You can buy loops. You can chop loops up in Ableton. You can put sound effects on them. You can drop them into different songs. There's a lot of things you can do. You can also record your own vocals and own sounds, which is really interesting. And let's see if I have any here that I've done. I've got a bunch of sounds I've recorded myself. I don't know if I have them here in this pack. Let's go with gosh, effects, guys. I mean, there's just so much you can do with Ableton. This review, I'm going to stop it here now, guys. There's way more we can do. I mean, you can basically click on the keys you want to use. You can MIDI sync anything to Ableton, which is crazy with the MIDI device. You got your start right here. You got your stop. You got your record and start. And then we can go click on the master. Now let's hit stop. Now this is, you got two different modes here, guys. If you tab, you just hit tab, you can go back and forth from these two modes. This is like a clip launch mode. You click here. This is like where you can really master down and hunker down your stuff. I right click this. Now I can actually see what we recorded, because we recorded those mini notes. We recorded those different samples. You can toggle and open up or close the audio. This is an audio and this is a MIDI, right? And this is MIDI arcade. So let me show you. I'll hit stop. Now I can chop out bits of this. I can do whatever I want. Look, I can just hit delete. I can undelete it. I could click a section. I could copy. I could paste. I could narrow it. I could do all kinds of stuff, guys. The options to edit audio in Ableton are insane, guys. I personally use this software all the time to make beats, and it's just the opportunity is endless. I hope you got a lot of value out of this. Like and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this, and reach out to me. Comment what you thought about this little introduction to Ableton Live 10 Suite. Now, I'm DJ Johnny Scott. Go check me out on iTunes. Check out my podcast, DJ Motivation, and subscribe and like to my channel. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.